Hello.
Hi, Daniel.
Oh, hi, Marco. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you are
Yeah.
leaving and entering the meeting.
Okay. I have the impression that the application placed me in mute after a few seconds. So as soon as you don't hear me, just ping me.
Okay.
The only slide set I see is those one from the PubSub, and Signem told me that
Daniel, I proposed some slides earlier today, actually. You
oh,
should
okay.
see them for approval.
Okay.
So I'm not sure I can cover 30 minutes, but
Yeah.
still I have something.
Let me check. I probably have them on my Ericsson. Would it be okay if I share with you the desktop?
As it works for you. But if
Yeah,
you
that's
accept them, they should be available on Miteco for an even easier sharing.
yeah.
So Daniel, if you are trying to talk, you are still muted.
So just to prove your slides, Marco.
Okay.
So now I probably have to do something with the material, maybe update.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
see
was
them
saying
in the material.
that Logan was expected to start the meeting, but he has a hurricane, so
Oh,
I told him, yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna take it.
okay. They're at least I don't see them in the data tracker entry yet.
Okay. Yeah, I see them now.
That's right. So
Yeah.
should I try to share them?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, I can see them on the even on the Miteco. So
Okay, if it works for you, I can share the PDF through Miteco. Now it should work.
Yeah. It should
Okay.
work. So go ahead.
I've just requested permission to share the slides. I think you need to grant
Okay,
it.
I need to grant it. You need permissions. Okay, that's done.
Oh, but I see selectable only the pub sub slides. Never
So
mind, I can
maybe I'm
share
going.
my screen. Never mind, I can share my screen.
Or can you see it now?
Let me try. Please grant again. No, and that's because you need to manually import them in Miteco first, because
Okay,
they were
so
accepted
share
too
the
late.
PDF.
Okay, so I request to share the screen.
Okay, approved.
Great. Okay, now you should see the slides in my browser.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll be quick. It's just a status update on the ongoing work on both drafts in parallel, revoke token notification and OSCORE GM admin. On revoke token notification, yeah, we went through the list of things to do 2 interim meetings ago. I've been working on the editor's copy on the working group GitHub. I managed to do almost everything, especially we thought about adding examples when the cursor extension is also used. I did that, and I took the opportunity to collect all examples we had already together with the new ones and have all of them in an appendix, because it started to be quite a lot of material anyway. I also added the other new appendix I mentioned that I had in mind about collecting and explaining together the different parameters and constants that we are introducing, so they don't just appear in line in the text. And when I was doing that, I noticed that one of those especially had an inconsistent name compared to the other ones. So I just prefer to get things aligned. While working on the document as a whole, I also noticed a thing about the, of course, optional possibility to use a particular query parameter defined in a core document, PMAX. It appeared in only 2 sentences, and I believe exaggerating with normative language that, of course, resulted in a normative reference. This parameter is not at all a vital building block for this approach. It's just a possible way to influence the authorization server in sending observed notifications like defined in the core document. So I prefer to rephrase the text to relax it and to be not normative anymore, which also makes it sufficient to have the core document as an informative reference. And as a side effect, now the ACE document does not have any normative reference anymore that are not RFCs, which should be good overall. Yeah, I've also gone through a number of clarification and minor fixes in the document, but nothing critical. What I have left mostly, and I'm still working on that, is a number of security considerations for which I had raw notes, and that I have to compile in proper text for the security consideration section. Yeah, I don't have any particular big issues remaining in mind. So the plan is the same as mentioned last time, having a revised version covering all of this before the cutoff. And if no other issues or open points arise, that version should be ready to consider for a working group last call. And this is revoke token notification. Any question or comment on this one? I hear none, so I move to the next one. Yeah, I'm working in parallel on this one that requires a bit more work, but still you can see the progress also on the GitHub repo when, unfortunately, the editor's copy is not deployed correctly. We still have that problem. I've completed a number of things, especially adding a new section discussing a number of considerations about possible multiple concurrent administrators responsible, even if to different extent, for the same OSCOR group under the group manager. And I managed to fix a number of things I noticed for the case when Coral is used. And then I have a list of ongoing steps that I'll try to take care as much as I can also before the cutoff. Some of those are also security considerations because right now we have only one very little paragraph. I think that there's a few things to say, both on the actual operations that can be performed at the group manager, as well as on the practical actors involved, and especially the group manager and the administrators. This is also ongoing, as mentioned in the last interim when I presented this. I really want at least to start translating the Coral example in CBOR diagnostic notation using also CBOR, and I started doing that already. While working on the document, I also noted that it'd be good to define one more error condition on the group manager in case it is requested to create a new group configuration or update an existing one in a way that it would result into something that the group manager itself doesn't support. So that requires, I believe, a new related error code. I'm not talking about a co-op response error code. I'm talking about an OSCOR GMadmin error code to be transported in the payload, of course. But we have a number of other error codes already, so it's just about following the same pattern about the error, the code point, and recommendations for how an administrator should follow up if this error code is received. And then a number of clarifications that I also noted would be better to include about possible reasons to deviate from recommended default parameter values if one is not specified by the administrator, and on some operations affecting multiple resources at once, in principle, that would require to be performed atomically. So I expect to cover all that before the cutoff. If I don't complete something, it'll probably be about the Coral examples. Then we also talked about a future document split. Yeah, I don't think it will happen this time around for this cutoff, but I understand that it will happen possibly after IETF-116, also based on the discussion and the checking of the mailing list. Thanks, Daniel. So I understand this will happen. It's about having the current document as doc1 to proceed after having removed the Coral-related content and having then a doc2 as a new working group document focused on the use of this approach on Coral instead. By the way, since that was started also the previous interim, the plan for doc2 is not at all about obsoleting or making a beast anyway of doc1. I don't think even about updating it. It's just a document prescribing how to use this method with Coral. There was an early thought, at least about the document name anyway, and I think I mentioned this name in a slide here at the previous meeting. And can we go for something as simple as this? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, that's,
okay.
I mean, I just wanted to, I mean, the only reason for that discussion, and it's not, it's just to make it clear to everyone, so no one get upset when you arrive with your new document, and
Sure.
I wanted that path to be
Of
to be
course.
done.
Of course, and I'll raise it up again at TF-116 anyway.
Okay, good.
Sure. And yeah, I think that mail you sent to the list defined as a timeline something around the working group last call of doc1. Yeah, I think we should do the split first.
Yeah.
So that then the working group last call focuses on doc1 as we want it to go ahead, and with less thing to read, actually.
Yeah. But I also think that it will avoid any confusion if now everyone understand we will have that document. So when you do the split with whatever is in the coverall doc, you just submit it, so we can have this adopted. And but if you wait 1 year or 6 months, people won't remind. So
No,
I
no,
think
no,
it's better
no.
to do that way.
The plan is to have a new version of what we have today submitted before the cutoff, covering as much as I can, and no document
Yeah.
split yet. And after the ITF meeting, I plan to do the split
Okay.
and submit Doc 2. And
Yeah.
yeah, if it works for you, it can be a working group document right away, or I don't know if you want to go through a formal call for adoption.
For me, I think I think it's fine to have it adopted right away.
Okay.
I mean, it's a split.
Yeah, you just receive a request for choice confirmation, but
Yeah.
yeah, I plan to do that after ITF 116. As I note in this slide, the split is not super straightforward editorially, because now the choral content, of course, is intentionally blended in a nice way. So I'll have to spend some time in taking out all the parts and make a new self-standing document, but I'll do that after
Yeah,
116.
sure.
And this is all I have. So we are on the plan.
Okay, so that's good. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
I see Sigdem online, so I'm wondering if she's willing to. I mean, do we have any question first regarding Marco's presentation?
I didn't have a specific question on it. I had, if they can just at some point during the meeting, I wanted to give a quick update about the key group com.
Yeah, sure. You can. I mean, sure. Yeah. I mean, so do we have any question regarding Marco's presentation? I don't see any comment. No, I don't see anything that is blocking. So it's mostly to say we are aligned with what we mentioned, and I don't see any blocking point nor even questions Marco is expecting from us. So so I think we're really on track, which is good. Yeah. So I see Sigdem and Ricard. So Ricard, you want to make a short update about the Shepherd?
Yes, just a quick update. So the actual Shepherd write-up, I have that finished now. So it's about some final formatting to not have too long lines, and I'll submit it. Should be during the day. And for the actual Shepherd's review, that I also almost done with, again, some formatting and making it a bit cleaner to point to the right sections and such. But I should be able to submit that by tomorrow or latest Wednesday.
Okay, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
So when is the deadline for? I think it's in 2 weeks.
You mean the cutoff
The
for
deadline
the...
for submissions?
It's in 3 weeks, but
Oh, 3 weeks. Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah. So
plan to
that's
address.
perfect.
No, I plan to address Ricard's review before then. Hopefully, in a few days, I can revise the draft and submit the
Okay.
revision, and that should be done for requesting publication.
That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, that was about it I had to say.
Oh, we lost Daniel again.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So thank you, Ricard. I was saying that as soon as it gets published, if you don't see a request for publication in a 24th hour, just ping me back again. And then it's going to be in Paul's hand, and I hope those 2 or 3 documents are going to be in the RFC queue very soon. So that's perfect. Now I see.
Yes, I'm here. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Because I don't hear Daniel's response now.
Yeah, sometime I am for some
Okay.
reason I mean my audio is being mute, but so
Okay.
I didn't hear the question, but I mean,
It was, can you hear me? And Marco confirmed. If you could share
Okay.
the slides, I'm happy to give a quick update on
Okay,
the PubSub
right.
document.
I'm going to try that. So, do you see the slides now?
No.
No.
No. Should be good now.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
let me give you a quick update. I've been working on the document, but I haven't bumped up the version number, but hoping to put a new version by the cutoff date. I asked Marco to join the authors, and he kindly accepted because I've been picking his brain a lot about KeyGroupCom, as well as making use of a number of solutions from KeyGroupCom Oscore, so it made sense. Some of the updates to the document includes some of the discussions that we had with Marco in a design meeting, which looked into clarifying terminology, making sure that it is clear to all the readers that this document is about a security group, not an application group. And the distinction between the two is clear, that the application group corresponds to that PubSub group around a single topic. And a topic can have subtopics. So I also made an effort to go back to PubSub document and see that our definitions of the terms are very well aligned to COAP PubSub as well. We discussed a few things about how the mapping is from the security group to application group. At the moment, the way it's written, it's kind of considers a one-to-one relationship between a security group versus an application group. So a topic name is representative of the application group as well as the security group, which makes things a lot simpler when you are asking for different permissions within a scope. And then we also considered the possibility of one application group being used by multiple security groups. So we haven't closed that option, but it would probably require a good example why you might need that. Also, following the COAP PubSub document, and Marco's earliest suggestion, registered a core PS GM to represent a resource for group membership. And then I would have to follow the COAP PubSub a little bit about how the resource discovery regarding the group membership resources will happen. And then again, following Marco's suggestion, I did support for extended format of scope, registered the content format, clarified the KDC and how it acquires credentials for publisher clients, made sure that it follows the requirement from KeyGroupCom that the publisher clients are not just COSA keys, and also differentiated between the new clients joining versus returning clients in the case where KDC may have already a token for the returning client. Added more support and clarifications on join error handling, which was not existing in the document. And then also talked a little bit more on how to support token transfer methods other than posting the auth-set info, and registered a exporter ACE sign challenge to support that token transfer during the DTLS handshake. Next slide. So there are a number of updates to the document which can be seen in the GitHub repo. If you go next slide, I can talk about what's to do. Sorry for breaking, Goran. Majority of the things that I say is on the slide. Hopefully it will be covering a good summary. So this is planned for cutoff. And one of the things that needs to be clarified better is the client workflow, especially about when the client approaches the resource server, and if it's not aware of an authorization server, the optional AS discovery, and then getting the token and maybe doing additional resource discovery, including a KDC discovery, then approaching KDC and getting the right keys for doing confidential communication. So that workflow needs to be better described. The scope format needs to be cleaned up, needs to be expanded so that we can flag when to the AS when the request is for a KDC or a broker scope. And then other PubSub operations. At the moment, we only support publish subscribe operations in the scope format. Maybe other operations need to be considered added in. So that will be much more clear once I kind of review the PubSub document and make sure I understand what kind of permissions may be needed in addition into the scope format. And then maybe we want to do this for future-proof, a reserved kind of place for admin-related actions, operations. The most important part is the handling the join response and how the COSA key returned and how the nonce construction can be done. We considered two options. One option was base IV and sender ID provided by KDC, partial IV, same for all senders. And it's set by KDC again. And then option two was, again, base IV provided by KDC and the partial IV space divided among senders. This option was the option actually the late discussed with Francesca, and that was in the GitHub issues, the option mentioned. But we feel the option one might be a cleaner solution to create those unique nonces for each submission. And this might be something that we discuss in the working group. Other things to do, group rekeying. This is not planned for this version because there's a lot to do to clean up in this document. But for the next versions, group key management, group key rekeying, at the moment it's written as it is a default point-to-point rekeying. But maybe we need to think about a solution that incorporates the PubSub nature of the communication. And other things that needs to come up in terms of CoAP Core PubSub, which might be flagged as necessary to add into this document. I gave an example of brokerless PubSub mentioned in the CoAP Core PubSub document, for instance, and how do we support that? And the important thing for the cutoff is the finalizing the group com requirements list, and not the optional, possibly, but the actual main requirements, group com requirements finalized. And the document planned for 116 is that we have a clean document that is the most basic PubSub group com communication described in this document, basically. And that's the overview I have for this document. It does have a few versions in its future. It's not ready yet.
Okay. Marco, do you have a question? Because I see you in the list.
Yeah, I have a few comments starting from the previous slide. Then, of course, that can continue in one more design team meeting. But I have a few quick comments. Right. Here on the second bullet point, core PS GM, I think it's even simpler than what is in this slide. If we follow the same spirit of KeyGroup it's really the resource type of a resource at the KDC. And so for the group membership in terms of membership to a security group, and it's not involved in other kinds of discovery, like of topic discovery, and that's covered in the core document through different resource types for resources at the broker.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
right.
I didn't mean to say it included topic discovery. No, it's related to the security group discovery, basically.
Okay, so it doesn't involve resources at the broker. Okay.
No.
Okay. Can you move to the next slide? Right. On the topic of the scope format with AEF, yeah, an inner bullet point said other co-op pub-sub operations, discovery, create, read, remove. So on the discovery part, that's also defined in the core document, of course, and that shouldn't really require any particular access control of permission. It's just about using web linking directly from the broker or through resource directory and find out the data resources where to publish and subscribe for a topic. On create, read, remove, so I suppose this refers to creating the topic and its configuration and possibly updating it. That's the administrative part of permission. And the core document is covering both parts, so the administrative part and the using part. This ACE profile is covering only the user part. So this is about deciding if we should keep focusing on the user part only, and probably it's the best thing.
I'm happy to clarify. I'm happy to clarify that way. The only thing that is a little bit bothering me, the difference between create and publish when a topic doesn't exist, because if I read correctly the co-op pub-sub, it might be the case that the publish might come to a non-existent topic, and then the broker may decide to create the topic and accept the publication.
Well,
so we might need to say a few words that that's not an acceptable way of working for this particular broker, basically.
So
that's not an allowed action.
As far as I understand the direction in core, the topic configuration has to be created first before a publication can happen. But
well,
still
the
it's good to
latest
clarify.
I read, it seemed to accept publish with no topic as well. So I'll clarify that. But okay, I'm happy. Actually, this is great simplification. We can remove the app operations that are admin related completely from the description, and maybe clarify that this only covers just publish, subscribe, assuming it's only considering users. We did plan another the scope for admins as well.
That's good. The future-proof reservation is good, but I think it's better off if this document focuses on authorization for the users, and then possibly a future document like pub/sub-admin focuses on the permissions for administrators of topics. Like for the Grupo Score case, we had one document for the users to get the key material and the document for the administrators.
I see where you're going with this. I think it will keep it clean, and then just to make sure that we add a line that these are the only operations supported for that reason, and we're done. Okay, that's fine.
And without spending too many words, the discovery of topics at the broker for users and of configuration for possible admins, again at the broker, is really entirely taken care of in the core document. So I don't think we should define really anything new in that sense here. We can really be streamlined on the authorization for users.
Okay.
But then you also mentioned somewhere in the slide the discovery of the KDC.
Oh, this is the thing that we discussed. If
yes.
you haven't, if you don't remember, we discussed this in the design meeting. This was sorry, go ahead.
And I think we should take a slightly different way than what I suggested myself at the design team meeting. That was about including this information as metadata in a topic configuration. But anything about configuration should be precluded from users. It's only for admins. So a better way for a publisher or subscriber to find out the KDC associated to a topic can be, well, it can happen when discovering the topic, the resource that the broker were to publish, basically, and using web linking again, and again from the broker or the resource directory. a link to the topic resource can go side by side with a link to the KDC, and those two can be related by the rel target attribute. And we are doing something similar also in a document about the group of score case. So if you provide well, enough detailed link format responses, for example, when discovering topics, you may at the same time also give an indication of the KDC to go to. So this should be defined in the ACE document, I think, but building on the topic discovery defined in the core document anyway.
Yes. Okay. The KDC discovery, the workflow needs to be described. That's why I've mentioned that. The discovery I mentioned in the PubSub operations, it was encompassing beyond KDC discovery. This is something, again, we discussed in the design meeting, whether when a person gets a when a client gets a token, or a client gets a token and approaches the broker, can we assume they by default do other operations? That was that's why this slide has that information. But yeah, okay. We can. You're saying that by providing enough details, you can also amortize the KDC discovery within the topic discovery.
In the ACE document, we can extend the topic discovery via web linking in a way that it can also provide the link to the KDC.
Okay.
Then doesn't require extra permission, any extra particular operation. It's just a little extension to the discovery functionality from the core document.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then one last thing on the brokerless PubSub thing that you also mentioned. If you look at the editor's copy of the core document, it seems that part is gone altogether.
Okay.
I can post the link in the chat for convenience. So this is the branch where Jaime is working, and well, you can also check the actual editor's copy. But yeah, that little section that was opening for a brokerless alternative is gone. So
that's excellent.
It's probably
yeah,
not going
that
to be
was a
targeted
question
at
mark.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a question mark because I was looking at the latest version of the published version of the Collab Core PubSub, and I had a question mark there whether it's going to stay or go, basically. Yeah, okay, that's fine. If it's not in the in the editor's copy of the latest version, and that's what's going to be submitted next, IETF, then there is one less thing to worry about.
Exactly.
So on
That's
my
all
side,
have.
I have one question regarding the two options for the key. How you so is it a I mean the problem I see with option 2 is that if the IV is, I mean, because the IV is provided by the KDC, I mean, the IV knows how many senders there are, so it's fine to do it once. But over time, those number might change, and he might be willing to have a longer IV or a subspace. So I'm wondering if option 2 makes sense, or
yeah, we agree. I think Marco also agrees. So because he was suggesting option 1 also. With more emphasis. I brought both options because I thought it's worth discussing, as this was the first solution I found in the GitHub issues as the initial plan. And then there was a communication disconnect, and I don't know how that plan changed or was improved on. But we were questioning that, and in Marco's review that came up as well. And we were thinking option 1 is a better option, but we thought it would be a good thing to bring both options and say why we pick one over the other, and so that it's clear to the working group, basically.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Option 2 would also work because you split the total partial V space in advance and you assign an available chunk to a new publisher as
But
publishers count.
we did talk about running out of the space and
It's a matter of
etc.
trade-offs. I think
Yeah.
option 1 has better trade-offs than option 2.
Mhm.
In different ways, they both work. Of course, option 1 then requires to build the actual cipher nonce in a non-trivial way, and I expect we would consider a construction similar to the one of OSCORE.
Mhm.
But yeah, then
Okay.
you have
No,
also...
as long as they are discussed,
Yeah.
it's fine. But I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
You
so the
especially have a
plan,
way larger partial AV space practically usable by every publisher.
yeah.
Okay. So just before we move on, I just want to present you the Notwell. I think I mean, do you see the Notwell?
No.
No.
It's still my
Oh.
slide. I think you need to stop
Okay.
sharing my slides. But
Oh,
again,
okay, maybe
as an overview, thank you,
stop
Marco,
and
for
share my
your
screen.
comments and joining me in this. But the next version is going to be more focused on cleaning up and fulfilling the requirements of key group com, basically.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good. I think it's a good step, and since this draft is becoming more active, it's really fine. I agree that we need to target an intermediary version for the cutoff, and then update that document regularly so that it can be sent to the publication. I mean, we can have a publication request in the next few months. I don't see anything that is blocking us from advancing. I mean, there is no issue being raised or specific concerns that we think needs more discussion. So this is a good point. So now I think you can see the Notwell.
Yes.
It's a little bit late, but still it has been mentioned. So so we know that those discussions are happening under these rules. I just wanted to show them because we have to. And now, I mean, I'm wondering if there are any other topics that we want to discuss. Yeah, Garan, please go.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Sorry, I was late here. Maybe you already talked about this. I was curious about the two meetings scheduled for March here. One in the week before the IETF and one at the IETF meeting. Have you decided or have you discussed having both or one of them? And if so, which?
So I can only heard.
Was there some problem with my audio?
No, I think it's me.
So I'll just say it again. Are we having the meeting at the IETF 116?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's what.
And the interim meeting the week before. Are we having that too, or do we need both? I didn't hear you. Maybe you were offline for a while, or maybe I was.
Yeah. Regularly, I don't know why is. So I think the discussion is whether we have an interim meeting, yes or no. I mean, what do you people think? Is it useful? Is it not useful?
Marco here. I cannot take.
Try again, Marco.
Can you hear me, Daniel?
Yeah.
I cannot take the March interim meeting. I have a conflict that day. I think I mentioned that already when the initial poll for the interim meeting started.
Oh, yeah. You told me.
So I really have to skip that one. And well, after all, I wasn't even assuming there was going to be one because it's the week before IETF.
Yeah, sure. So who would participate to that meeting if that meetings happen? Who think it's a bad idea?
I could participate theoretically, but maybe it's better to skip since there's going to be one at the actual main meeting either way.
Hello,
Melissa?
this is Militia speaking. Yes, this is Militia speaking. So I was going to comment that we are working on the update of enrollment over secure transport over OSCOR, which is an old document that has been hanging around for a while and hasn't been updated in a year. So right now we are working on updating this, and I will be requesting to present this during the IETF meeting. I unfortunately won't be available during the week before when the interim is, I believe, scheduled. So for me, having the meeting at IETF would be great. Yeah.
So, I mean, is there anyone saying that we need to have the meeting? Because I mean, just you can say it in the chat because I've received only half of what you're saying for some reason. So, I think, is Carsten saying we should have the interim meeting?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it takes 10 seconds to switch on the microphone. So, no, I think it's generally a bad idea to have an interim in the week before the IETF. I mean, if you don't have a meeting at the IETF, then that's okay. But if you do, I'm not quite sure how we would distribute the work between the two meetings to make this useful. I mean, we're not going to have any progress between the two meetings, right? So, did we lose Daniel again? Yes, we did lose him again. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Carsten.
Yeah, but we cannot hear Daniel.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, just to confirm with you that you're not a problem. Yeah.
Now he's offline. Now he came back. Maybe he shouldn't be using an Ericsson network for this.
So, yeah, I think we have a consensus that we don't have an interim meeting. Any other thing that needs to be discussed? Okay, so I think if you're hearing me, I think we can adjourn the meeting. I will
hope
probably
Well,
to
it's cut
meet
off again.
You're back
because
now.
what is happening.
Yeah, we heard you saying we cannot join the meeting, but then you cut in the middle there.
Yeah, so I was just saying I will have to talk to the Miteco team. So maybe there is an interesting bug with what is happening now. Okay, thank you everyone. I think we can adjourn the meeting and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye
See
bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.